Subscriber LD Henson asked, what would be the one piece of advice I would give to someone just starting out with modern homesteading? I think the one piece of advice I would give is learn as much as you possibly can. I bought more books on Amazon on homesteading, on keeping animals, on keeping chickens. I think there's an encyclopedia of homesteading or something. It's a big book, it's thick, and it has information about just about everything. I went to like the Mother Earth News Fair. I found YouTube channels that worked. I was lurking on backyard chickens. So learn as much as you possibly can before you get involved. And if you can, find a mentor. Find somebody in your area that's kind of doing what you're doing, and see if you can, just say, hey, I'd love to come out and work with you for a day. Is there a day where I can come out and just do chores with you for 4 hours or 5 hours or whatever? Most of the time, somebody will be like, yeah, sure, you want to help, come on out. And then you can see what you like and what you don't like, what you might want to get, what you don't want to get. But yeah, just that would be the first thing, would be learn as much as you can from as many sources as you can. And then the other thing would be start small. I'm not always so good at that part. But I think like when we started in the house where we first started having children, we had 3 chickens, because that's what we were allowed to have by law. We did deck boxes for some garden plants and, containers for tomatoes and stuff like that. And we started small. Now, when we moved out to the homestead, I had a huge blank canvas that, I wanted to fill up as fast as I could. I think I've done better lately of, like selling the sheep, because we don't do much with them. But start small, start now, with learning and with doing, even if it's just growing herbs in a deck box outside your front door or your back patio or whatever. I think that would be the 1 or 2 pieces of advice I would give. Christine Auders said that she was a relatively new subscriber and that she didn't have a question per se, but just liked hanging out with the channel and seeing the homestead life. So Christine, thank you so much for the comment. I enjoy you hanging out with us. Please comment more. I would love to chat with you in the comments, and hope you stick around. Brian Philbrook also asked, he was wondering if I'm going to get any more animals to go in there with Prudence. And yes, that is the plan. Like, I had obviously, when I sold the sheep, I had intended that to be a very short-term deal of her being by herself, because I had planned on having a hopefully a heifer calf, but at some calf, well, since she had a still baby, she's by herself now. I mean, she can see the pigs, the chickens and ducks are in with her, so she's not totally alone, but with regards to bigger animals, she's alone. I may get a beef steer or some sort of steer calf when it gets a little bit warmer, so that if she doesn't accept it grafting onto her, feeding it, that it won't be so stinking cold when I have to feed it. The other option is, I think I mentioned in the video where Lefty from Lefty's Hobby Farm, or Justin from Lefty's Hobby Farm, came over. He's going to bring me a couple doe goats, and that's going to be the trade for the pigs, so that they will eat the thistles, and then I'll have a couple doe goats. So that's the plan. There will definitely be something else in the pasture, but I'm not not planning on doing anything big. I'd like to focus more on breeding for mini jerseys, and that's where I'm going with Prudence. So Stacy Briggs asked if it's easier to homeschool with a homestead, and I would have to say it's not. Well, it's not. Maybe it is a little bit. I don't know that. So the reason that it might be a little bit is because where we live on our homestead, we don't have a whole lot of neighbors. So the kids aren't saying, hey, can we go out with the neighbors and play? Whereas when we lived in a subdivision, the kids would sometimes be like, hey, the kids are home from school, can we go out and play? So I guess that would be the only reason that homeschooling on a homestead would be easier. I guess the other thing would be like science. You can talk about birthing, animals, what they need, stuff like that. But other than those things, I don't know that homeschooling on a homestead is any easier. New subscriber John Peterson asked about how hard it is to attract and keep a healthy hive. So when I first started doing bees, I actually went with our homeschool group, and we went to a class on keeping bees. And then I bought a hive from that family that put on the class. And the first year, I'm pretty sure we lost our bees. They didn't overwinter well. So I bought a new package of bees and installed that, and since then it's been growing well. I think actually that second year I bought 2 packages of bees and installed them into 2 different hives. I'm very, very hands-off with my bees. I do almost nothing with them. I don't feed them in the winter. I don't feed them in the summer. I just make sure that they have water, and I try to make sure that they have enough supers on top. If you're trying to attract a hive, I am not going to be a whole lot of help. I know that there's attractants you can put in boxes, but other than that, you just have to be ready in the spring to, if you have, put the word out that you're interested in catching a swarm and trying to do that. And I've got videos where I caught a swarm. I actually caught 2 swarms this past spring. So if you search my beehive video, or search my channel for something about catching a swarm or swarm, you'll probably find those. Otherwise, you really almost have to buy a package of bees or buy a pre-made hive of bees. And that can be anywhere from, a package of bees is probably, depending on your area, $150 on up for like a 3-pound package, and that will include your queen and 3 pounds of bees, which will be several thousand bees. And you just install that in your hive, and away you go. You still have to buy all of your boxes and your frames and your foundation. So getting started can be relatively expensive. It's the least expensive if you put together all of your boxes and frames and foundation. So that's about how I can say it, and then it's up to you as to how much you want to do it. We have a family friend who had several hundred beehives at one time, and he actually ended up losing some of his hives. I think he was a little frustrated with me because I do almost nothing with my hives, and my hives were strong enough this spring that I actually caught 2 hives. So I went from having 2 hives to 4 hives, and I actually missed a swarm. So yeah, it's just kind of hit or miss. You want to make sure that they've got, and I plant some wildflowers around to make sure that they have stuff. And the way that I mow in between my pine trees, I mow alternating every time I do it, so that I leave some clover and stuff like that for each mowing. So I don't know if that helps. If you got any other questions specifically, let me know. I hope that helped. Katie Dawn Wing asked how we chose our dog breed, what his name was, what breed he is, and she has a poodle named Lucy, and that she loves the vlogs. So thank you very much for loving the vlogs. I appreciate that. So our dog's name is Scout. He is a Labradoodle. He is 3/4 poodle and 1/4 lab. And the reason that we got him was because my wife has dog allergies. So we needed something that she could tolerate. And actually, before we moved out to the homestead, we had tried getting another Labradoodle that was half and half. And we brought him home, and the next morning, my wife had hives. So took that dog back. I was pretty bummed out, but obviously my wife comes first. And at that point, I really thought that I had no chance at ever having a dog again. But my wife is understanding enough and wonderful enough that she let me try one more time. We ended up going to, it was a breeder that bred mostly hunting dogs, and he had a hunting lab that he bred with a hunting poodle. And we got him, and his name is Scout, and he is amazing. He is great with the kids. He lets these guys, and especially the little ones, roughhouse with him, put him in headlocks, and he just lets them do it. He has never once shown any aggression. I guess every once in a while, like if you try to grab his bone, he'll kind of growl at you, but he's never nipped or anything like that. So he has been awesome. We love him. I'm not sure, like when he dies, I'm not sure what we'll do with regards to a dog. I like having a dog around. I especially like having a dog with little kids around, because I can let him out when the kids go out. So like I can let the 3-year-old and the 5-year-old play in the front of the house where the swing set is, and just let the dog out, knowing that if anyone even slows down at the end of our driveway, he'll go nuts. And that's exactly what I want him to do. So he is a great dog in that way. If anyone ever comes over, he is a mean, mean dog, so you better beware.